Yo, what's going on, man? Patrick James here, and really quickly, I want to introduce the rest of this video for you. So I'm about to play a clip for you from a recent seminar here in Phoenix, Arizona, where guys literally travel from all over the world just to be there. In fact, one guy came all the way from China just to be in attendance. So this clip that I'm about to show you from the seminar is where I taught these guys the one acronym that you need to remember so that you can walk with confidence and swagger in a way that attracts women. Literally, this walk that I'm about to teach you will stand out from any crowd. And if any girl sees you walking through a crowd, down the sidewalk, or maybe just down a hallway, she'll instantly go, "Who is that guy? I want to get to meet him." So enjoy this sneak peek into my Building Your Attractive Character workshop. All I ask is that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the Raw Dating Advice family, hit that subscribe button. On that note, enjoy this clip. Another added benefit of body language is the fact that we talked about earlier, like owning your outfit, like regardless of what you wear, it's more the fact that you own it. Well, if you have the proper body language, it's going to create that state of confidence from within. That way you don't need all this external stuff to create that state for you, because there was another study, before I get into the last day, there was another study done at Harvard Business School where literally like they put people in like what they call low power poses versus high power poses, meaning that if someone had a low power pose body language, meaning it was unconfident, so chin down, balled up, right? If they held someone in that position for 2 minutes versus someone who they held in a high power pose, someone who like looks like he just won Game 7 of the NBA Finals, right? And they had that person hold that body language for 2 minutes. They found that the person who held the high power pose had higher testosterone levels like in their blood right in that moment, and they also had more confidence, more bravado. So they put them in different situations and saw how the decisions they would make in those situations. So high power pose, body language, right? Just putting yourself in this type of body language will not only give you that bravado, that confidence to take the kind of risk that an alpha male would, but it also actually raises your testosterone levels in your blood, which is cool. All right, so last A, this is one aspect of putting yourself into that confident body language. So the first L stands for you're looking straight ahead as you walk with your chin up. So if I'm walking down the street, I'll just give you a personal example. Before I knew like the secrets of body language, before I got into dating advice myself, I was actually a pretty introverted person. Not because I'm naturally introverted, I'm actually naturally pretty social, but this was back in college. All I could think about was like my tests, my exams, because I was trying to get straight A's. I wanted to get into medical school, right? So I would study all day for a test, and then I'd memorize everything and cram it all into my head, and then I'd go out the door and I'd walk straight to the exam room. And I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody's face. I didn't want to run into anybody I knew because they'd throw me off my game. So I would literally just like look down at the ground in front of me so that way I wouldn't see anybody I knew, okay? Which is really weird. It's a little habit that I used to have. But what I was actually doing was I was putting myself in a low confidence state because my chin was down. I was looking at the ground. And not only does everybody who sees me walking go, that's an introverted guy who's probably nervous around people, who probably doesn't like talking to people, doesn't like social interaction. You can see how I'm creating like negative social proof for me, right? Just because my body language. And as we all know, like because I'm actually looking at the ground as I walk, I actually feel less confident, right? So looking straight ahead and with your chin up. So if your chin up, you're conveying to the world, my life is good, I'm open, right? And I'm looking straight ahead. I don't mind if I see people because I'm just a naturally like social person, right? And if you're looking straight ahead, that also conveys that I'm the kind of guy who does have a purpose in my life, right? I could have easily been as focused on my test by looking straight ahead as I walk. I don't have to look at the ground, but that just conveys that I'm actually going places. I'm not just like lackadaisically walking around without a purpose. And it might seem like I'm going a little bit deep and kind of diving deeper into this, but these are like the gut feelings that women get about a man when she meets him. And it's all from the nonverbal communication. She doesn't know specifically why she's getting that vibe from you, but it's all these little tweaks that we make that add up to this impression that she gets, the gut feeling that she gets. All right, so L, looking straight ahead with your chin up. So I even like to think about it as like looking beyond the crowd. I'm not necessarily looking at one particular thing, but I'm just kind of looking off into the distance of where I'm walking. That way I know exactly where I'm going. My chin is up, I feel great, and everybody looks at me and they think, man, that guy's pretty confident, all right? Another one, I'm walking at my own pace, right? So a lot of times guys will talk about walking and they'll say, you gotta walk slower than most people, or people who move slower are, that's more confident, right? I wouldn't even say that. A lot of times I'm personally walking faster than most people because I have places to be, right? So I'm actually walking faster, but I'm walking at my own pace. So, I mean, the airport is my favorite example to think about like this. At the airport, what do people do? They're walking through the airport, but if you get stuck behind someone else, or if you start walking in a crowd, you're gonna start walking with the crowd, right? I'm like, fuck that, I gotta go there. I'm gonna walk at my pace. Now I'm not gonna look like stressed out and out of control, but I'm just casually walking at my pace with my chin up, looking straight ahead. But sometimes that could also mean I'm walking slower than most people, so it's whatever pace you feel like is necessary in that moment. The main thing I want you to keep in mind when you think about the pacing of your walk is just don't change what you're doing to fit the crowd, right? Another way you can actively convey to yourself, I'm not going to change my pace for other people, is escalators. Escalators are I hate escalators, man, because I just think most people are lazy because they stand there on the escalator and wait for this thing to take them up. And I'm like, dude, I could have been up there 10 seconds ago if I wasn't blocked by all these people just standing here looking around, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to just actively convey to yourself, I'm the kind of guy who walks at my own pace, be the guy who walks up the escalator and says, excuse me, sorry, pardon me, right? Be that guy, right? Take the challenge to yourself. It's stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? And just a little commitment like that to yourself, I'm going to be the guy who always goes at my own pace, and I'm not going to stop myself for these people who want to stand on the escalator, right? It's just one of those little tweaks that's going to have big rewards when it counts, all right? S, I'm striding wide. So I was watching a movie the other day. Have you guys ever seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yes.
There's a scene where the queen or whatever, she's having the carpet rolled out in front of her, and she's walking like this so you can see her through the crowd, and she's striding like this because she's waiting for the carpet to be rolled out. Some people actually walk like that. They just and I'm like, no. So stride wide, right? The guy who strides wide, he's not changing his direction to walk around other people, right? If you're striding wide, you're on your own path. You're going where you want to go. You're looking beyond the crowd, and you're going at your own pace. So I would just say stride wide. Now, I don't mean hot lava, just naturally, your own gait. But this goes into changing your natural gait, just to accommodate other people. Are you going to stride like this so you can go around other people and walk at other people's pace? Or are you going to walk at your own pace and stride at a natural way, right? Next one is tall and open, right? So a lot of people, they slouch when they walk, right? Especially if you're not confident, or if you're stressed out, or you're depressed, or your bitch wife just divorced you. You're just walking around like this, right? Small strides, your shoulders are slumped, you're not very tall, your head's down. But if you're tall and open, and even if you don't feel like it, right? I've trained myself, even if I'm in a shitty mood, I'm gonna walk like this, because when I walk like this, I feel like a boss, okay? And that kind of just changes your whole state, your own mind. All right, so tall and open. So I'm gonna keep my back straight, as if there's a board, right? And I'm not gonna be too robotic about this. I've seen guys do this, but naturally, right? Just naturally at my own gait. But from here to here, imagine your spine is an inflexible board. So you're not like this, you're like this, all right? And keep your shoulders back. A lot of people, they're naturally like this because their muscles are out of balance. Their back is out of balance with their chest. So like this, but I'd recommend keeping your chest open. So there's a lot to say about having open body language with your shoulders back, or even your chin up, because back in the day when we were in tribal tribes, and people were hunter-gatherers, and tribes tried to kill other people in other tribes, right? The guy who was tall and open was the most confident guy. He was the alpha because he's like, I'm not afraid of anything in this environment. Come at me, right? But if you're like this, you're protecting yourself because you don't know if a rock's gonna come flying out of nowhere from some other guy trying to like kill you, right? So you're protecting your vital organs. But if you're exposing your vital organs to the environment, you're like, I see no threats here and I'm confident about this environment, right? So obviously in 2017, you're not gonna get shot with a bow and arrow. You're not gonna get a stone thrown at you, most likely. So have that open body language, right? These are just like irrational fears that our subconscious brain gives us, and it comes out in our body language. And that's why women pick up on it when you have great body language, all right? So tall and open, shoulders back. And then the last one is the arms swinging freely and naturally by your side. A lot of people who are walking robotic, they forget the arms part, right? So make sure your arms are swinging freely and naturally, right? And I actually did this in one of my programs. I think it's Become Her Addiction. I broke down the walk and I found celebrities, like very confident celebrities like Drake, LeBron James, Russell Brand. And I found videos of them on YouTube. I don't know how, but there's literally videos of these guys just walking through the street. And I like point out all 5 of these traits and what they do. And this is one that I would have never noticed unless I actually did take the time to go out and look for videos like that, is guys who are naturally confident, guys who everybody likes and looks up to. They always just naturally have their arms like swinging, right? Not like, but they're like swinging, like big, right? Not huge like this, but they're freely, naturally swinging by their side. And it's just one of those extra added elements of swagger that I call it. The element of swagger that just gives their walk a little bit more swagger and a little bit more bravado that women pick up on. All right, so last A, remember that. Now, I do want to say this is when you're starting to realize these things about your own walk, it's going to feel robotic when you practice it, right? It will at first, but if you just practice it consistently, eventually you won't have to think about it anymore, and it'll get to a place where, yeah, it's kind of robotic and you're kind of thinking about it a lot, but the more you practice it, the more ingrained it'll be, and the less you actually have to put natural, conscious effort into it, and it'll just kind of like level back to a place where it's natural, and now you just have a more confident walk.
Okay.